So I know so many people are looking forward to putting this year behind us because it's been a really challenging one in so many ways. But there have also been some really important things happen during these past 12 months and some life lessons that can help us all with sobriety and choosing an alcohol-free lifestyle. So before we write off 2020 and try to forget it ever happened, here are 6 great things that 2020 has taught us about alcohol and sobriety. First of all, we learned that we adapt to a new normal pretty quickly. Just imagine trying to tell the December 2019 version of you that in a year's time, you wouldn't bat an eyelid at seeing people wearing masks everywhere because you'd be wearing one yourself and using hand sanitizer and keeping a social distance. You don't really think about it now. And my point about that is that most of us don't like change. It is uncomfortable at first, we really notice it and we worry that it's always going to feel totally weird. But if you can find some kind of new normal in the middle of something as horrible as a global pandemic, then my goodness, you will be able to find a new normal in something amazing like sobriety. This year we learned that drinking really doesn't change anything. So it was no surprise to see images like this at the start of the year. People were scared and turned to alcohol. But now more than ever, we've seen that drinking doesn't help. It hasn't made coronavirus vanish any faster. It didn't make lockdown go quicker or the US election less stressful. It didn't change the reality of any of those things. It didn't make them easier to cope with. It just made people tired, more fed up, less able to cope. And that's why we've also seen a lot of articles like this recently. If you decided to quit drinking this year, or you realise that that is what you want to do, congratulations. You are one of many, many people who've decided that they have had enough of booze. And that really is something to celebrate. 2020 also taught us that we really value freedom. I don't know about you, but I can't wait to be able to travel more, meet whoever I want, and just come and go a bit more easily. If you value freedom too, then make sure you aren't creating your own lockdown with alcohol. Because when these restrictions lift, you want to be able to go out and enjoy life again, right? Don't let alcohol keep you chained at home in a little mini prison where you're trapped in this cycle of evening drinking, feeling rubbish and not really living life. Go and enjoy the freedom outside that's waiting for you. We also learned that gin distilleries can quickly switch to making hand sanitizer. So do you remember how hard it used to be to get hold of this stuff? We have needed alcohol this year in the form of hand sanitizer. And when it ran out, some gin distilleries switched to making sanitizer instead because they already had the key ingredient. They already had high strength alcohol. And that was really helpful. It was a good thing for them to do that. But it should also be a wake-up call. We are not meant to be ingesting something that we also use for cleaning our hands and sterilizing things with. This year taught us that we are more resilient than we think. I know, it has just been one thing after another this year. But look, you did it, you're still here, you survived. And if you drank your way through this year, then that's nothing to be embarrassed about. But do know this, you survived this year despite your drinking, not because of it. When life was really tough, you chose to add in something that gave you 20 minutes of distraction, but 24 hours of feeling tired, groggy, and stressed out. And yet you survived. So I have respect for you. You have to be strong to do that, to be a drinker, to cope with it all and keep going. So don't ever fall for this story about how you're not strong enough to quit drinking. No, no, no. Sobriety is going to be a breeze for you by comparison. And finally, we learned this year what really matters. The thing that's been the most upsetting this year for many of us is not being able to see the people we care about, not being able to hug them, having to make difficult decisions about who we spend time with and who we actually protect by staying apart from. And I'm just pointing this out now because in 12 months' time, when, fingers crossed, life is a lot more normal, there are going to be people saying things like, oh, Christmas isn't Christmas without wine or champagne or my favourite drink. We'll be talking about that again as if what we drink is all that really matters. But that isn't the case. This year has taught us that. We're wired for love, connection, and belonging. And it's always that matters. It's always the people in our life that really counts, not what's in our glass. So I'm Kate B. Please scroll down below and let me know what your lessons have been this year. What have been your key takeaways? I'd love to hear about it and how the past 12 months has changed things for you or made you see things a bit differently. Have a great week and I'll speak to you soon.